Milk for Tea and Lionhearted working together, I just think is a perfect fit. It's also really, inspiring to see the work that you guys are doing and the fact that you feel like we're kind of in line with what you're doing as well. So my name's Jack Norman. I'm the co-founder of a social enterprise called Milk for Tea. Our biggest aim is to combat the male suicide rate, which is the #1 killer of men under 45 in the UK. The work that we do, mainly we go into organisations and run workshops. We're also qualified coaches, so we use a lot of coaching methods either in our workshops or in a one-to-one basis. Really, we created the social enterprise to get into the male community and do the work alongside men. We feel like there is a lot of people doing some great work out there, but actually our angle that we wanted to approach the male community on was actually to stand alongside them and work with them to develop what it means to be a man and how we can fully embrace every challenge that we face. Milk for Tea and Lionhearted working together, I just think is a perfect fit. We met probably just over a year ago now, and both companies, organisations speak the same language. And collaborating on a CAP is really something that's really important to myself and Dan as well. We know that we can't do everything by ourselves. We know that the more people that are speaking about this message and promoting what we're trying to do and building that community is hugely, hugely important for us. So it's actually a real privilege when people like yourselves approach us about working collaboratively on a project, because it's really mutually beneficial for everyone. The modern male, we're still very complex. There's still a lot of issues that the male community are facing. It's been really great for me to continue to work alongside men, because you learn a lot about men when you're working alongside them. We're just as emotional as women. We probably even more emotional because we've been holding that in for years and years. We're in a really interesting transitional phase where actually from generations we're kind of moving towards it being okay to talk about how you feel, but there's still that reservation. So it's really interesting to see how men are now will be perceived going forward. I still think there's a lot of work to do, and I think however much progress that we've made, we're never going to be perfect. It's never going to be solved. So the fact that we're open to continually evolving is really, really important to me. When we started on Milk for Tea about just over 3 years ago, we didn't actually know what we wanted it to be. And it's interesting that we're like linking on something, because we wanted it to be really focused around fashion, really focused around mental health. So like the two work together. Actually, like what we really love is working with people. So whether it's in any retail job that I've had or any other job, for that matter, I was coaching young kids from the age of 15. So I think we always want to focus our attention around people. And so when we went on this expression for about a year, just to find out what we really wanted to do up until like last January, everything that we created was all around people and all around how we connect with people and how we, we're hosting an event, it's because we're creating a space for people to come to and really express themselves. As a male community, we don't really talk about body image, and it's actually, for Mental Health Awareness Week in a couple of weeks, it's actually the topic. I think that's really good to have recognition around that. But body image is something that I know that I've struggled with, like coming off the back of wanting to play professional football and then kind of thinking, all right, what do I do to keep myself active? And then I got into the gym, got a couple of offers for sponsorship, but there was a lot of pressure from these brands around, you need to look a certain way, you need to then start doing this to make yourself even better. And I think some of the things that I didn't necessarily agree with. So I was being punished for actually staying true to myself and true to what I wanted to do, but then that didn't get me onto cover of magazines or, and then you kind of like lose the passion for that, because that's where the goal is and that's where the benchmark is. Like, have you ever looked at like Men's Health and seen a guy that isn't airbrushed you know, to within an inch of his life and has got an 8-pack. Like, why are we promoting that that's what it's like to be a man, is that you have to have a 6-pack and you have to have... So I think there's a big bit of work to do around body image. It's really inspiring where the story came from with the FFC Not Alone boys. I've known Ian for a while, like over a couple of years, and you know he's really talented, really you know, passionate about what he does, and I think it's amazing how they can use a vehicle such as football, because there was so many, when we sat on the panel, there were so many different layers. So it's like the entry level, how much pressure you're put on, because you know, as a youth, then in the game, how much pressure is put on you, and then outside the game, like you look at people like Paul Gascoigne, Gary Speed, etc., who have had you know, serious mental health issues off the back of having a career in football. But then you also, like, because a lot of the discussion there was all about fans and how they act, you know, how men are, you know, really expressive about their emotions within a football situation, but then they can't talk to their mates or to their partner, or, you know, about how they're feeling, but they can in that certain circumstance. So it's really, I think, in football there's multifaceted issues, multifaceted layers of stuff that you could talk about. So it's great that you guys are going to collaborate with them, because I think, you know, the more work that you can do in that space, the more people that you can help, because you have a captive audience there anyway. So.